Hey everybody, Zach First Night here back with the top, favorite episodes of certain Rugrats seasons list. Kind of, I really did want to do it. By the time my phone really had low memory, I had to kind of clear up some space. So I now have about like up to 20 minutes of recording time. So I was going to do Rugrats season 2, my top 10 favorite episodes, because I'm going to do 5 per shorter seasons and 10 per longer seasons. And this is 10 because it's a longer season. Seasons 2 and 3 were very long. Season 4 was pretty short. Same thing with season 1. I think the rest of the season is pretty shorter. But what I'm going to do, since there's 4 discs in this, I'm going to do like 3 for the first 2 discs, and 2 for the last 2 discs. And there are going to be some that's I really like, I might put on the list or not, but these aren't like in order. It's just my favorite episodes of this season. Season 2 came out the year 1992, the year I was born. Sadly, I'm that old. And it lasted till 1993. So, one of the most iconic episodes in the series were in season 2 and 3. And pretty much season 4 as well. Season 1 had some really iconic episodes, but season 2 and 4 are probably the most iconic seasons, I think, and just from what I remember growing up. So disc 1, let's see, it's kind of hard for me to pick. Now, Toy Palace is a classic episode, but I don't think it's my favorite on this season. It is fun, it's just not my favorite. So I'm actually going to go with the second episode, which was Sand Ho. It's pretty much just about Tommy, Chucky, and the twins, Phil and Lil, pretty much pretending that they were pirates because they're listening to Grandpa Lou's story. And it was just a very clever episode, and Angelica came in and became like the enemy. And long story short, Dee Dee kind of saves Tommy from being thrown off the plank by Angelica, which was a really nice little ending to it. It was a really quick episode, really nice. I really liked it. Trying to think of like what else happened in the episode, but they had like a lot of funny scenes where like Tommy fell over in the sand pit and he had sand all over his face, to look like he had a shadow, like for being an adult, and all the way that since how the babies don't speak perfect English because they're babies, it is just funny to hear what they say for certain things throughout the series. So that's one of them. Now, an iconic episode that I just don't care for as much is Chucky versus the Potty. It's a very dark episode, and it actually did kind of scare me when I was little. The episode itself was pretty good. It is just not my favorite, but I just wanted to let you know that was a very iconic episode. Now, one I thought was a good one on this one, it's kind of hard for me to really list them, but it's Ice Cream Mountain. That's a very iconic episode about the Ice Cream Mountain. Pretty much is about Stu and Drew for taking their Stu and Dee Dee. Dee Dee was in the episode, but it's Stu and his brother Drew. They're out with each of their own sets of kids. I should say Drew with his daughter and Stu with Chucky. I mean, not Chucky, with Tommy. And then they also had the twins and Chucky. Well, Phil and Lil. So that way people actually knew who I'm talking about. So they're pretty much going to go get ice cream initially, but then Stu and Drew seen this golf course that they remembered as a kid, and Angelica seen the golf course that looked like a giant ice cream, and Angelica called it Ice Cream Mountain, and the babies and Angelica went to go find it. Come to find out, it was all obviously it's metal, it's hollow. They go inside and find out that not really the Rugrats themselves know about this, but they just seen, Angelica specifically, seen this paper blocking some holes that she was trying to look through. And what it was is that the owner of that place kind of cheats and makes it so that way no one wins a hole-in-one. Angelica puts the one that blocks the hole-in-one shots and puts them into, and it blocks out the ones that make it always a miss. And it's hilarious. That episode's absolutely hilarious. I really like that episode. It's such a classic. And of course at the end they get the ice cream that they wanted. That's a really good one. That's the second episode from this disc that I really liked. That's 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, okay, I'm trying to count, make sure I got this right. Another really good one that I liked is Let There Be Light. This one just barely made it over the Mirrorland episode, but Let There Be Light was just a little bit more fun to me, which was just pretty much like Stu was inventing something in the basement, like things like a special cred, made it like anti-gravity for some reason, and blew out the whole town's electricity. And it was absolutely hilarious, and thought it pretty much long story short, you know, the babies try to find where the light is, and Tommy remembers when he was like an infant, where he remembers his mom taking him to the fridge at, you know, around like 2 or 3 in the morning or whatever, and remembering that there's light in the refrigerator. They think that the light is hiding in there, but Stu, you know, gets the lights working just as soon as the babies get it open, and they think that they rescued the light. It was a really clever episode. I really liked it. They also technically referenced the Bible in that episode, which was good because, you know, Stu says "Let there be light," which is from the Bible. That was in Genesis, so if people don't know, just look up in the book of Genesis in the Bible. It has it in it. Disc 2, let's see. Ooh, this one has some good ones. So an iconic one I'm not going to put on the list is Reptar on Ice. I really like that one. It's a very iconic, but it's not my favorite on this season. So I'm going to start off, though, with the Grandpa's Date. I really like that one. It's pretty much about Morgana, a woman that he knew when he was younger, but she thought that he was cheating on her, with another woman, but he obviously wasn't. He was giving CPR, and she just happened to be there and left him for that reason. But years later, they met up again, and that's how she found out that what just happened. And the babies were trying to figure out why Grandpa was acting weird for the night that it was supposed to be just Grandpa Lou and Tommy and Chucky. It had a little bit of a dirty humor in it, so it was probably one of the rare moments they actually did that in the show, with Grandpa Lou. If you know what scene I'm talking about, you know it. I'm not sure if I'm even in frame, I'm sorry about this. So next one, really hard for me to really kind of list, because I really like the season, has so many good episodes. Dread, I hate that I had to kind of put some aside, because I had to pick my favorites. Another really good one I like is Beach Blanket Babies, where they're at the beach with Dee Dee, Stu, Drew, Minka and Boris, which are Dee Dee's mom and dad, and also Grandpa Lou, which is Stu's dad. And they're, it's funny because there was a scene where Lou and Boris were arguing over the card game they were playing. It was hilarious. And Tommy and Chucky were having their little adventure because Chucky thought that the sea monkeys were wanting to be free in the ocean. And it was a very iconic, very funny episode, and I really recommend seeing it. Let's see, next up is the Santa Experience. I really love that one. I love Christmas, and it talks about Jesus, and that's the reason why I love Christmas. But this episode does not talk about Jesus, which is surprising. But they do in the second Christmas episode in season 9. But this one was about, Dee Dee, Stu, Drew, Charlotte, which was her first appearance, and Betty and Howard, all the friends and families that were going to go to this cabin, so that way they can experience Christmas together. It's kind of like almost like a family. And Chucky was terrified of Santa Claus. It was a really good episode. It's very iconic. If you have not seen it, it's really worth watching. You can find it on VHS, DVD, hoping Blu-ray someday, because there is supposed to be a Blu-ray set someday, but I doubt it'll be anytime soon, which I'd prefer them to do it soon. But another episode I was really tempted putting on this list was the Dog Broomer, because I really, really like that episode. And also the Aunt Miriam's pretty good. Disc 3, let's see. Chucky Loses His Glasses is definitely on that list, so I'm going to put this one next. Chucky loses his glasses from doing hide and go seek, and Angelica takes off his glasses so he can count, and hides it, and puts it on herself and gets sick, from nausea, from being dizzy. And Chucky sees everything that's terrifying to him, and then Tommy and the twins were wanting to find Chucky because they were wondering where he was at because they weren't finding him. He wasn't finding them while they're hiding. And obviously they find each other, and ends well, and Angelica pukes at the end. It's a really good episode, very iconic. I really like that one as well. This one's gonna be hard for me to choose. I don't know. I'd say, man, this one's hard. I like this disc. It has some pretty good episodes, except for the first one. It's a tie-up, but it's a toss-up. I like Chucky Gets Skunked. I also like the Meet the Carmichael episodes. I also like Angelica the Magnificent. That's a good one too. going to probably put Meet the Carmichaels as that episode only because I like Susie as a character, and the Carmichaels in general. They're such great characters. The dad's very mean to Stu, but it's absolutely hilarious because Stu's just a big fan while trying to be friends with him while he's annoyed because he doesn't like the attention from the show that he writes for. But it's absolutely hilarious episode, and Susie comes off as a very sweet character, but at the same time kind of a crier. But they actually change her character very quickly from the next appearance, where she's more like strong, like against Angelica because she's so mean to the babies, because she's friends with the babies. And one thing I've always loved about the show is that they never cared or anything about their race. I'm glad they never brought up race at all for those characters. I like those characters, and I don't care for the Kwan's episode. It's an alright episode, but it's just not my favorite. But this Meet the Carmichael episodes was just great because they're just great characters. Susie's very kind, and I've always liked Susie's character, especially seasons going forward. But I really like that episode, and it's really hard for me to pretty much put anything higher than that one from these other awesome episodes. Another good one I was going to put on was Let Them Eat Cake. A very great episode. Then disc 4, the last disc. Let's see. Very iconic episode, The Slide. But that's not the one I'm going to do. I'm going to do Runaway Angelica, where she runs away thinking that her mom and dad, well, not thinking, but trying to teach them a lesson for her getting grounded because she was messing around with stuff she's not supposed to and gets grounded. And come to find out, they never knew that she was gone. And she feels horrible because she thinks that they don't love her, especially the dad, because, he was already at Stu's and that's where she ran away to. Very hilarious episode. I really liked it. Because Angelica pretty much gets what she deserves, even though she's only 3. But they kind of made her character, in my opinion, better from season 5 onward. But not much better, but at least miles better in season 1 and 2, where she was a lot more harsh. But then the next episode, I would have to put Toys in the Attic as the next episode, just for the sake that that's a really good episode about Minka and Boris, where they are Jewish, and that's why Tommy's half Jewish, half white, because Stu is white and Dee Dee's Jewish. But they do a Hanukkah episode later, but that's not from this season. But this episode is about them babysitting Tommy and Angelica, because Dee Dee, Stu, and Drew and Charlotte are going out to like a resort, so that way they can have their honeymoon events. So that way, but the episode was about Angelica and Tommy wanting to explore their house, mainly Angelica trying to find some toys to play with, and they come to find it in the attic. And it's terrifying up there, and of course they start bonding very quickly after Boris and Mika find them in the attic. They kind of just sit around, look at pictures, talk. This ended up being a really good episode, and honestly a better episode for Angelica because it actually made her character a little bit more likable towards the end of the episode. Very good season, definitely worth watching. Another good episode I could have put on the list, would be King Tenpin, which is about bowling for Grandpa Lou, and a very iconic one, Spike the Wonder Dog. And some other good episodes on there, but those are pretty much it. That's my top 10 favorite episodes from season 2. What are your favorite episodes from season 2? Doesn't have to be in any order, but I just really like season 2. It's great. I can't wait to do 4 and onward. 3 was not my favorite, but I can always find some episodes I really consider really good. But see you next time, and God bless.